Welcome. It is a fine day here in the Ozarks and time to show off another typewriter. For those of you looking at this particular one, though, a lot of our viewers, you guys are just watching to learn how to use your typewriter, which makes me very happy. I get a lot of great comments on YouTube about how these videos are helping you as you find you dig up typewriters out of your garage or your attic or the shed, and you're learning how to use them. And so that makes me really happy. Thanks for telling me those stories. Keep it coming. I really appreciate it. But for those of you who are actually looking at this one and are interested in it, here, let's take a look at this. So I have for you a 1970s Electra 220 for you. This is painted in bright pink. This is not the original color. Also, this one is fully electric. That means you do need to plug it in. There's no batteries or chargers or anything like that. Has a power return. And then this one has a 12-inch carriage on it, which I think is excellent for crafters. I like the bigger carriage for crafters because you don't know what kind of projects you're going to want to do. And so this just allows you to have larger paper to use in your projects. So let me scoot this up just a hair. Right here is your paper holder, which comes in handy as you get lower down on your paper when you're typing, and it keeps your paper up instead of falling over. To set your margins, you have two tabs. You press and you just slide to where you want them. For me, this is such a large carriage. I know it seems like this is in really far, but this is a really large carriage. And so unless you have a very large piece of paper, you're going to want your margin in. And I bring them in anyway for my typing demos. So I'm going to put my margins there. This is a paper guide, which is very handy for when you load your paper, and we'll show you that here in a second. Your paper release is right here, and you can see it releases the little metal bar here, and it holds the tension against the paper. And but if you need to adjust your paper, you just pull that release lever in. Carriage release, which releases the carriage because you can't move it right now, and you just pull that in. The carriage is only going to go as far as you have the margin set. And so, I can move this out, and there you go. And you hear the bell when you get to the margin. Carriage release is on both sides. On the left side, is your line selector. So when you hit your return button, it's going to advance either 1, 2, or 3 lines. This handle turns the roller for you so you can move around on your paper, but you'll hear it click. So it only moves every half a line as you turn it. And sometimes you need to fine tune or adjust that. And to do that, there's 2 ways. You can press in this button right here. It's on the left side. Just press it in, and that releases it. And so you can adjust that. And the other way is this lever right here. Push that back, and that also releases the roller. Just be sure you re-engage this before you start typing again, because then the paper is going to slide around and it's not going to advance properly. Okay, so let's look inside, and you just pull this forward, and you'll see we have a ribbon spool in here, and it's a universal ribbon that I've put in here. And it's a 2-inch spool. We have extra ribbons on our website at jotandtittletypewriters.com. This is very important, what I'm about to tell you. Please do not skip over this and listen very, very carefully, because 9 out of 10 issues with typewriters have to do with the ribbon. And it's actually nothing wrong. It's just you need to understand the ribbon. When you get to the end of the spool, most of the time, the typewriter is going to start acting weird. It's either going to stop and lock up, your font's going to get super faint, or occasionally you can keep typing, but it's just really weird. It's not feeling right. And so you're going to think, oh my goodness, there's something wrong with the typewriter. No, there's nothing wrong with your typewriter. You need to reverse that ribbon. You do that right here. Kind of like move that bus, reverse that ribbon, if you're old enough to know what I'm talking about. Okay, so you reverse the ribbon and that changes the direction, and you should be able to reverse the ribbon literally dozens of times before you need to change out your ribbon, because even though the ribbon itself is short, the ink, there's a lot of ink in here, and you go back and forth and use up all that ink before you need to change out the ribbon, which is really easy to do. You just pull that out, pop a new one in, make sure you see the guide wire, see how the ribbon's threaded through the guide wires. There is an up-close photo of this on our website. The link is in the description below. Even if the typewriter has sold, the picture is on there. Take a look at it so you know how to thread your ribbon. Black on top, red on bottom. Folks, I cannot overemphasize this. Almost every single, we rarely get anybody who says the typewriter's not working, I'm sending it back, because we give people 3 days. Rare, it's rare, but when they do, 80 to 90% of the time, it's because they would not reverse the direction of their ribbon, or their ribbon was threaded improperly. I'm telling you folks, please, 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 please listen to me. And even people who contact me, it's almost always the ribbon. And I get it, even when I'm typing, and something happens, I immediately panic, and then my husband usually comes in, change the ribbon, reverse the ribbon, and I reverse the ribbon, and everything is fine. Now, some typewriters will auto-reverse, but we've never found one that actually auto-reverses yet. So, okay, I know that was really obnoxious, but it happens so much that I have to just try to hammer this in your brain. You should not forget that. Tab. Okay, you can clear it and you can set it. Color selector. It's on black, set it to red. This is your power switch, power return. This has a regular spacebar, half, and a power. Let's go ahead and do a typing demo now. Okay, so let's load our paper right here against the paper guide. And that just helps keep your paper consistent, your margins consistent. When you roll that through, pull out the metal bar. And then I always bring it all the way up to see if I got it crooked or straight. And so that's crooked. That's when you pull forward the paper release. Adjust your paper. Oops. Sometimes I make a bigger mess than if I just left it. Oh, I see it's pushed up against the paper guide there. All right, let's try that again. There we go. Okay, and then now check my margins. I'm going to bring it in, turn it on. Okay, so also make sure it's plugged in before you turn it on, because I didn't have it plugged in. All right. If you notice, my carriage is in a different spot because when I turned it on, the carriage went over to the right. So this is a good reminder. Do not put your mugs or anything else around your carriage, because that does happen sometimes. I was pushing buttons while we were talking earlier, and sometimes when you turn on an electric typewriter, that carriage will go flying one way or the other. Okay. So let's go ahead and do some typing. So this is a 1970s Smith Corona Electra 220. And it's nice big font, easy to read. I like that. Oh, perfect example. My it's stopping, it's getting all funky here. Perfect, perfect, perfect example. So if you'll look, I'm going to open this up. And can you see how tight this ribbon is? That means I'm at the end of the spool. What happened was when I was talking to you earlier, I flipped the ribbon reversal switch, but I didn't flip it back. So watch what happens when I flip that ribbon reversal. You'll see the tension release. Boom, there it is. That ribbon is reversed, and I can keep going. And the creature was, there we go. Oh, backspace. That was a perfect example of what's going to happen, and each typewriter acts a little bit differently. When you get to the end of your ribbon, nothing wrong with the typewriter, just the ribbon. Okay, and the ribbon's nothing wrong, you just have to reverse it. Okay, so let's keep, I'm going to switch to red now, and I'm going to test each of these buttons, or these keys. Okay, so I have one key on this typewriter that does not work. That is the plus sign and the equal sign, just so you know. And as we say in our listing, you know, I work really hard to give you an accurate description of what condition the typewriter is in and what you can expect, and I've got multiple videos that explain that. So we do not replace parts. We work with the original parts on the typewriter to get it in a working condition, and I give you a accurate assessment. So, and then we price accordingly, and then we clean it up, and so that is what we do. We do not refurbish or restore typewriters. But we do repair them, we do service them and clean them, and we get better. My husband is the one who does that. He gets better and better every day, every week. And however, we have decided to keep it at the level that we're at because it keeps the typewriters much more affordable. Once you start getting into restoring and refurbishing, the price skyrockets on these typewriters. But we're going to give you typewriters that are working and that you can use, but they're not perfect. So please understand that. And also understand these typewriters are 50 to 100 years old. This is one of the newest typewriters that we do, and this is in 1970, around 1970. This baby's 50 years old. That's the year I was born. This is one of the newer ones. Our typewriters get older from there, so remember, you're getting a vintage item. They're not perfect, but they work. So in this, remember, one key, the plus and the equal sign, does not work. That's just the one key. Everything else works great. It's actually, this is a great typer, and for fast typists, this would be good for students, authors, crafters. This is an everyday typewriter. So this would be more, I talk about how they have a lot of personality. This is more of a fun and casual machine, and probably not for if you're doing very serious and deep thinking writing. This is probably not the right typewriter for you because it's just not the right feel or personality or anything like that. But homeschooling, college students, maybe you're writing a romance novel or something like that. This would be a really good typewriter. So,